Hi, once again, I'm Pastor Wes. I'm recording today from inside my RV, just trying to find a nice quiet spot to get away and not have too many interruptions. And so had some thoughts I want to share with you starting today and then over the next number of videos. Just some lessons learned from a few years ago that I thought would be really helpful. Our youngest son, Philip, hiked the Appalachian Trail a few years ago. And he started in Springer Mountain, Georgia, and hiked all the way to Maine, hiked over 2,000 miles. And doing so, my wife and I were very involved with that. We met up with him a number of different times. We got to hike with him on some days, select days here and there, and just drove the miles to see him as he worked his way up. And then we live in Pennsylvania here, so as he walked through Pennsylvania, we let him stay. He stayed at home, and we drove him back and forth each day. And then he took off again to go up through New Jersey, New York, and up through New England, and so forth. And my wife spent a whole week up in the White Mountains with him, and so we were very involved with his hike, and a lot of lessons you can learn from that. And so last time we talked about Psalm 23, and in Psalm 23 we see that. Our good shepherd is with us. He leads us. That's the emphasis of the 23rd Psalm, is the good shepherd leads us and makes us lie down and guides us and directs us. And I think you see that same parallel maybe played out even more so, or it's more evident, or you see more illustrations of it with hiking involved. And so everybody that hikes the Appalachian Trail would tell you that they have a trail manager. They have someone that kind of they keep in contact with who's off the trail. In other words, I was Philip's trail manager. And so he'd tell me where he was going to be and what he might need, and I could send a package to the post office that was closest to him along the trail. There's a number of different places along the trail that you can do that, and kind of set up for that. And so we would send him stuff. Of course, we went to visit him. So as we were going to visit him, he would let us know what we needed and where we could meet him at. And, I think he went through 3 or 4 pair of shoes in the hike. He had taken a little digital camera. It stopped working, so we got him a new digital camera along the way. Obviously, food items. And he transitioned from cold weather when he started to really hot weather. And so his clothing changed, and his tent changed, and his sleeping pad changed, and all those things changed throughout the trail. And he would let me know, and I'd help him. Plus, along the way, I'd be able to tell him, hey, there's a problem here. There's a bad storm coming to this area. I have a bigger, broader picture of what's going on via internet at home than he had out on the trail. He had a cell phone, of course, and he had a contact of getting through some towns and talking to some people, but at the same time you have a better idea what's going on from the outside than from the inside. And so they call that the trail manager. Trail manager kind of keeps an eye on you, helps you know what's coming up, what you need, get you what you need, stay in touch with you, make sure you're safe, make sure you have everything that is a necessity that you might have that comes up while you're hiking along the trail. So I was Philip's trail manager. And God is so many things to us, right? We understand that. He's the creator and the sustainer of life. He's the Alpha and Omega. He's the beginning and the end. We even looked at that a number of videos ago. But he's also very involved in the daily activities of our life. And so here's my thought for the day, right? One of the many aspects of God's working in our life is that God is also, in this instance, he's our trail manager. I tell the people when I'm preaching at church that we have a windshield view of life. We can kind of just see what's around us. Imagine driving down the highway, and sometimes your windshield view isn't any farther than the back of that semi-truck that's right in front of you. It's about as far as we can see sometimes. You think of coming up to a traffic jam, and you look around, you're trying to see what's going on, but you can't see very far. You can just see some stopped cars and then a bunch of brake lights, and that's about it. You don't really know what's going on. Our windshield view is very limited. God has a helicopter view of life. He sees way ahead. He sees way behind. He sees all around. He knows what's coming. He knows what's way ahead of us. And so that changes our perspective when we understand that God is intimately involved in our life and He has a view of our life that's far more reaching than what we have. And so God is our trail manager. He knows what's coming. He knows what's ahead. I'll take it a step farther. God laid out the trail of our life. He knows what our life is going to be. He designed the plan of our life. And so he made the walk that our life is going to encompass. He sees what's ahead for us every step of the way. He knows the things that we need along the trail of life. He knows the things that we have to have, and here's the harder part maybe. He knows the things that are going to weigh us down. He knows the things that we don't need to have. Everybody that hikes the trail, by and large, typically they take more stuff than they need, right? They end up, and the weight becomes an issue. And so over those first few days of hiking the trail in Georgia, all the little places they stop, the little hostels they can stop to sleep at, or the shelters and places like that, they're unloading stuff. You know, they had visions of reading books along the trail, and they realized books are a lot of dead weight, and they're exhausted at the end of the day, and they're not reading. They unload books. They unload extra clothing, extra shoes, extra equipment. They downsize and make things lighter. Those things are weighing them down. God knows the things in our life that's weighing us down, and the things that are too much. So He knows what we do need. He knows what we don't need. He knows the way we're going. But then listen to this. 2,000 years ago, God became man. And Jesus Christ came, was born in the town of Bethlehem, and lived some 33 years upon this world. So there's some added comfort when the Bible tells us that He was tempted in all ways, like as we are. He came, He walked, He felt what we felt, He lived what we live. Jesus Christ had that reaction to the hunger, the pain, the discomfort, the trouble, all the things that come along. He was betrayed by His closest friends. Jesus Christ had that. So he came and walked this life. What a comfort to know that God's not just far away looking down going, wow, that looks challenging. No, God's already been here. He's already walked it. So he knows the trail. He made the trail. He sees what's ahead. He knows what we need. He knows what we don't need. Here's the greatest part of all. The Bible tells us He leads us. He goes with us. And so our trail manager is walking alongside us every step of the way. Philip would have to wait until he had cell phone service and try to contact me. Don't have a lot of cell phone service out on the trail. You have to wait till you get closer to towns many times. So our ability to communicate was sometimes limited for a few days. You know, we'd have to wait until things connected before we could get in touch with each other. God's always available. He's always available through prayer, but He's always available because He's walking with us. He's guiding us every step of the way. And so through the difficulties and the trials and the ups and downs of life, I hope that can be of some comfort to us to know that He's with me. He leads me. He guides me. He's right beside me. He knows what I need. God's our trail manager. Have a good day.